This is Silverstone.
And this is our C1 Cup racing car. And by the end of this video, we're going to be heading back to Silverstone for one last time to see if we can beat our grid position from last year.
If you like cars, then chances are you will like some form of motorsport. And there are many types of motor racing across the world. From rallying to drifting, touring cars to F1. There's off-road racing, circuit, street racing, cars of all makes, Aston Martin, Ferrari, Lamborghini, right down to cars you'll see every day, such as Hyundai, Toyota, Lexus. There's a Mazda MX-5 Cup. There's even a Fiesta Championship for those who breathe Duratec. Damn it, they even race old buses. All are driven by people who want to get that sweet taste of victory, be on that podium and lift that trophy. And with that in mind, last year we decided
we're gonna build a race car.
What you're looking at was our weapon of choice, a Citroen C1. Now I know what you're thinking, what's that gonna do? And the answer would be not a lot. However, I still decided to splash money on a car that cost the same as a holiday to Skegness for a year. Completely removing the axles, suspension and engine to give it a revamp, totally unnecessary for this race series, only I was bored and I like wasting my time rushing about building cars to a deadline. This being the C1 Cup. So I went on stripping it out with the help of Lee to fit the roll cage which I bashed my head on. In the event I do manage to get this beast past 40 and crash, I knew the little brain cell I hit there would be sound as a pound. After we spent a week or so fitting everything, we rocked up to Silverstone with it on the back of a Transit and hoped to take first place and tell everyone at home we're awesome. Sadly, we were humbled by a grid of people actually knowing what they were doing, but we did however put in a competitive time, placing 31st out of 50 cars. Didn't write it off and fetching it back in one piece, only now I wanted more.
This time we've got a few tricks up our sleeve. I'm only joking, although that would be pretty sick. So, although we didn't do too bad for our first race last time, we couldn't turn down the opportunity to go back and see if we could do better, as the first race of the 2025 season for the C1 Race Cup is at Silverstone.
Yes, that's right, we can return to Silverstone to attempt to beat our grid position record in a championship called the C1 Cup, which is a race championship in the UK that offers 3, 12 and 24-hour races across the country. All cars have to be kitted out the same, with tightly controlled regulations. It is a fantastic racing series. Even pro touring car drivers get involved in. The cars are cheap, the tracks are frisk. If you wanted to get involved, the link to the club site will be below.
Coming away from Silverstone last year, we gained some tips, tricks and pointers for the other teams there in the pits, which really helped us out. So it would be rude for us to not try these out and see how we get on. The first being the gearbox. So we've learned that the pre-2010 model C1s have a slightly better gearbox for racing, mainly third gear as it is a longer ratio. With our car being 2011, it does have the later gearbox. So I managed to bag this off another race team. Shout out to Stephen Kell at Calamity Motorsport, he gives us this for 50 quid. Absolute bargain.
He also sorted us with some spare wing mirrors and an engine. Hopefully we won't need that though.
Right, Lee's here to give us a hand. We're going to start taking it apart. We're going to put it on timer, see how quick we can do it, just to give us a rough idea of if we ever need to change it on the race. Starting now.
So as you can see, I started stripping the parts off underneath, whilst Lee tackled the top of the car, removing the battery, gear cables, clutch cable and so on. A big thanks to Aaron who came down to film with the camera too.
Just under 7 minutes.
Oh lad, we're going to have to burn 10 minutes.
That was your target, 10 minutes?
No, no.
I was going to say.
Good ambitious.
Once everything was unbolted from the top, we could lift it up and remove the rest of the things such as the drive shafts, engine mounts, starter motor and all the bellows and bolts.
Oh, we're flying here. We're doing great, we're doing great.
What's your realistic target? Let's have it right. I'll tell you whereabouts you are.
Half an hour? Yeah.
Sitting at 14 minutes now.
Oh, wow. Half an hour.
With all the bolts undone, the gearbox could be removed and we just had to swap a few bits onto our brand new second-hand one. No time to waste, straight back in with a new one as time was ticking. Then it was just a case of putting it back together in the order that it came apart.
What time do you think you're on?
15 minutes?
Yeah.
It's very unlikely we would do this on a 3-hour race, but it was a bit of fun to time it and get a rough estimate. We would, however, have extra hands on race days, so it would also be a lot quicker if we need be. Lee was finishing getting the top build back up, I just had the bottom arms to sort out, and we managed to get it all back in around the 43-minute mark, which isn't too bad at all for two very tired guys. A new battery was also installed courtesy from our sponsor D.WARD Automotive. They've helped kit this car out and can help with yours too. If you're in the Bishop Auckland area, hit them up for any automotive parts or paint that you need. Back to the car, we had the general maintenance to do before Silverstone. I started with doing an oil change and then putting the fuel tank guard back on.
Top to spec. Get on.
Whilst I put the gearbox oil in I forgot to do earlier, Lee said about putting a new water pump on.
So I was meant to put Miller's motorsport oil in, but I forgot to order it, didn't I? So oh, yeah. High level of stress, slow jaw recovery.
Shut up, does it say that?
Time to relax until you're fully recharged. Just having a stressful time here. I'm not going to make it a race day. Are you winning? Should have made you a cuppa. Do you want a cuppa?
Now you ask.
No, it's a bit past cuppers now, innit? I'm not sleeping.
I've got decaf.
Decaf tea?
Yeah.
You're joking.
I'm not actually a class. I'll sit and drink tea all day, mate, and then I'll start on decaf on a night. So I'm about 5 or 6 on a night.
What did you have the other day?
20. I'm not joking, I'm going, mate. Guys have like a box of tea bags in a week.
You need to get
Like,
one then.
take the ball out, kettle on. Put the ball back in, kettle on.
How many clients do you get through in a day? One.
With the new water pump and belt on, all that was left to do was put the engine oil in and call it a night.
Alright, so it's the next day. Last night we stopped back, we got the gearbox in, changed all the fluids, got the water pump on with the new belt and then the underguard put on. We did time ourselves just as a bit of fun, see what we could do, although I had a chippy tea so I was sweating a bit, which is not ideal. But I think all we've got left to do today is change the indicator stalk, squib and then an inside wing mirror to put on. But yeah, it was good practice last night, although on the 3 hours we wouldn't really be able to change the gearbox. It would probably be something we'll have to do on the 24 hour. And we were missing Corey, which is on our team, which would have been quicker. And we've got a new member of the team, Owen, who was Lee's apprentice, who would be able to give us a hand now. So at Silverstone, we've got a strong team of 5. If we don't win, there's definitely something wrong. But yeah, I'm going to get this off the ramp now, finish the interior, then we'll give it a good clean out. It does need a wash because it's absolutely minging off the last time. And then one more trick up our sleeve, which is taking it to Rab Motorsport over at Workington. It's going to set the car up properly, but I'll talk more about that later. So let's get it off the ramp. So the plan is to fit A new indicator stalk. Got a new one here from Stephen Kell, Calamity Motorsport. Basically, I'll show you what the crack is. Now, I don't know if you can see, but don't need to start the car. Ignition on, lights on, fog light, not working. But sometimes it does. It's gonna have me out if you push it in sometimes. Nah, it's not working at all now. Hopefully that's going to replace it and fix the job. I have already took it apart just to make sure all the wires and everything was connected so like I said, everything else works apart from that. Oh, I do also have, where are we at? An inside wing mirror, a longer one, so hopefully we can fit this up on here somewhere, but I've just had a try and I think the bracket might be a bit too thick. But we shall see. Right, let's get started.
This was a pretty straightforward job, as is with more things on these cars. First, remove the steering wheel, then the steering boss, which is held on with one nut. Get the plastics out the way with a couple of screws, then once unplugged, the squib can be pulled away from the steering column.
Should be able to try it now, I think. Yes! Winning.
We have fog light. I can now assemble it all back together, only we also have a rev counter to fit up, kindly supplied by Calamity Motorsport.
If you do buy a poverty spec one like ours, you do have the plug already on the wiring loom for the rev counter. And then all it does is just have one bolt there, which goes around there, and then it should slide on and go around there, just like that.
If you like the music you're listening to, it's because I handpicked them from local bands, along with nearly all the other tracks on this episode. This one is by Circuit 68, and the others are from the side project. They are both on Spotify and all other music platforms. Make sure you give their albums and singles a blast. All the links are going to be in the caption below. With the steering all back together, I can now set about the big interior mirror we have. It has two brackets to bolt on either side of the cage. And that looks good to me.
I did also say some fake news saying that you need a race seat which is in date, which is completely false. As long as it's FIA approved, and let me get this correct, Motorsport UK regs 8855 1999, then it should be sound. So that means we get to keep this Cobra 1 champion. Another thing that we didn't know, which is kind of embarrassing to be fair, on the last race, is that every car has to weigh the same, and to match everyone's driver's weight level, you need to have a ballast weight inside the car where the passenger seat goes. So every car weighs the same, and it's basically who's the best driver. Unfortunately, we didn't take any last time, so we had to borrow some out of other teams, which was quite embarrassing, but it is what it is. They were really helpful. Yeah, they got us some weight we could use for the race. Otherwise, if we didn't have it, we wouldn't have been able to race.
And so this base plate bolts directly to the old seat bolt holes. Once that is in place, the weight can be added on top, along with the bolts and washers supplied by the C1 Racing Club. I also got some cheap bumper straps to add. Sadly, I thought it came as a set of 4. Unfortunately, there was only 2 in the pack, so I only managed to do the front. Hashtag Racecar.
Right, I've had a few people ask what tyres do you use, and you can only use one, and that being Nankang for the full racing series. And they've all 14 inch and they fit on the alloy wheels. You can either get them shaved or have a full tyre from standard, pretty much the same as what you would have on a normal road car. We used the shaved ones on the front and then a full tyre in the rear, or you can use all 4 shaved, doesn't really matter. This one was a shaved, and then we've used it for qualifying, so that's how they look after 1 hour. And then this one is after 3 hours, and now what we'd use for that is, that'll be our next qualifying session. The qualifying's only around 50 minutes, so you really want it as flush as you can to replicate a full slick tyre. So After that, all of them last about 4 hours from a full slick tyre. After 4 hours, the tyres are absolutely rubbish. Get rid of them and you get a fresh set on. Every driver's different, or every race team uses different tyre pressures. That's the only really thing you can alter with them. Other than that, all the same on every car.
Another gem of an upgrade is this lap timer that I got from Demon Tweaks. This will hopefully tell us how fast or slow we're going in certain segments of the track. Hopefully give us an indication of how terrible we really are and to do better. It plugs directly into the cigarette lighter port and recognises the track with GPS as soon as it's active in pretty much any racetrack. And as you can see here, I made a little bracket for it to bolt on the centre of the dash. It wants to be somewhere you can see it nice and clear, but also not in the way of anything. With the bracket fitted up, I can get the centrepiece back in the car and feed the power leads down to the cigarette lighter port.
Lovely. Lovely.
If it didn't look like a race car before, then it definitely does now. A big shout out to Matthew Barnes Trailer Hire for being our new sponsor this season. Kindly, they've lent us a trailer to take this beast back and forth to the track. Northeast based, they have trailers for everything big or small. Check them out on all social media platforms or give them a ring if you require a trailer of any kind. Mechanically, that is the car all done. We loaded it up and headed over to Racecar in Cumbria for the last trick and fine tuning of this whippet, which was to get it tracked by an expert. Richard has years experience in the motorsport industry, working with GT3 cars, McLarens to Ginettas. There's no other man you need to see if you ever need to get your car steering properly. We spent a day there getting it perfect. Once he was happy, it was time to load it up, head back to the unit and fill the van up for Silverstone the next day.
So I'm back from Rab Sport. Massive shout out to the guys over there, Richard and the team setting up the car. They've done an absolute fantastic job. Got us in last minute, so they're really helpful guys there as well. So I just need to pack up the van and then get loaded and head down first thing tomorrow. I'll see you there.
A long drive ahead, we set off early hours of the morning to make it down for the practice session we had booked on the Friday. Stopping briefly for breakfast at a service station, which cost us about $1,000 for a bacon sandwich. We then got back on the road to finally make it to one of the most famous racetracks in the world, Silverstone. Located in Northamptonshire, England, it is considered the home of British motorsport. Originally a World War II airfield, it hosted its first ever Formula 1 race in 1950. Loved by its fans for its atmosphere and unpredictable UK weather. Known for its fast-flowing corners like Copse, Maggots and Becketts and Stowe, it's basically the Wimbledon of racing, only with more speed, noise and fewer claps. And we had one mission, to beat our grid position from last year.
Yeah? Feel alright?
Yeah.
Right.
As I was a bag of nerves, Lee went out for the first practice session to get some good seat time in and learn the track, something which we didn't do last year. And you can see our new lap timer working a treat, lighting up green on the segments of the track that you've gone faster, whilst also showing how many seconds quicker you were there, and lighting up red when you've gone slower on that section of track compared to the last lap. Lee's session over, he came back in to let the beast rest before it was my turn to rip the place up.
Let's have it.
Well, Sunday.
Way high.
So off I went to get the grips with our new upgrades and see what this animal could really do around this track. The lap timer being the absolute game changer. Although that didn't stop me being terrible and breaching the track limits. What an idiot. Nonetheless, I kept it on all four wheels somehow, and before I knew it, the session was over. With a bit more confidence, we knew the track. The last thing we had to do today was get the car weighed. Every car has to do this, and it is based off your lightest driver. The weight is then added so all cars match the same weight. For this, you need to brim all of the fluids on the car, such as the fuel and washer tank. Once they're happy with the weight of the car is correct, then they'll put a tag on it so they know it hasn't been tampered with. That was Friday over with. It was time to lock the car up and head back to the hotel for some well needed kit.
Right, so it's the next morning. We're off to scrutineering now. Hopefully the car's going to pass. Just going to have a quick look at the car, make sure it's okay. We'll get a sticker, seal of approval, and then check out gear over, and then yeah, just got the rest of the day to prep the car up. Hopefully it goes alright.
This is the technical inspection of the car before an event to ensure it meets the safety standards and comply with the competition rules. They checked the car over along with all of our clothing, and thankfully all was good to go.
Right, so we've got through scrutineering, got the golden ticket to go racing. Just prepping the car up now, swapping the tyres over, going to do a spanner check and make sure everything's alright. We've got a new team member, Owen, on the job, sorting all the car out, getting all what we need ready. She's looking well. Absolute animal.
Is running like a fine-tuned machine.
Whilst we waited for our pit to become available, we watched other bits of racing from other championships the BRSCC was hosting that weekend. The sun was going down, Aaron and Corey made it, so we managed to get in our garage where we could probably spanner check the car over after the practice sessions and get it looking fresh out the box again.
You're not getting a free air freshener with this one though.
That's extra.
I've got one in my car, I'll come and bring it down, put it in.
New car smell.
Yeah. I have actually got a smell with it.
The car's all cleaned, ready to go, got it all bolted up, make sure everything's tight. I think we're going to just do a few pit stop practices and get our heads down for the night. We're ready for race day tomorrow.
Another thing we didn't practice last time was the pit stops. If we wanted to beat our record, then we could save minutes on just one pit stop alone. So we spent the night rehearsing over and over until we knew exactly what we had to do without any questions. And then we called it a night before the big day tomorrow.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world
Bright and early,
watched
the driver's
closely
briefing
by
was held,
intelligences
and it was straight to the assembly area for qualifying. with Lee taking the hot seat for the first half. All we needed was one quick lap, which would set us higher up on the grid for the race start.
Spinning fragment of solar driftwood, which by chance or design, man has inherited out of the dark mystery of time and space.
So off he went for the first 30 minutes of qualifying with the rest of the cars.
Hours at the beast in the jungle. Intellect, vast, cool and unathletic. It regarded this earth with envious eyes. Slowly and surely.
Sadly, however, you can't see him in the top left corner. We had to pit him first lap as we forgot to put enough fuel in the car. As you can see here, we were refueling while everyone was out giving it the beans. Quickly, we did get him on his way and he could actually get some decent times put down for qualifying. A big shout out to the BRSCC for running the event, whilst also live streaming it on YouTube and allowing us to use their footage.
And it has always been a centre point of the C1 Racing Club year, and it's become a centre point of the BRSCC Racing year on top of that too, given the fact that the C1 Racing Club came across.
And now was a good time to use our new pit board, making sure he'd definitely seen it. Absolutely smashing the lap times in and getting quicker with everyone. It was time for him to come in and let me have a blast and see what I could do.
Out there is the perfect lap. No mistakes.
Yeah, not for me. Amazingly, I did keep it on track and got it back safe. Lee got our fastest lap, getting us 33rd on the grid of 50 cars. If we finish in that position for the race, then we will have definitely beaten our record. With qualifying over, we actually put some fuel in the car for the race, gave it a final spanner check and got some new rubbers on those rims ready to full send it. Row 16 for us, we made it to the assembly line, ready to get on the grid and start the formation lap, with me doing the first half.
Start your engine!
All cars made it to the grid. It was time for the formation lap. This is one full lap of the racetrack, the only chance to warm those tyres up. Once all are back round the last corner, it's bumper to bumper and all eyes are on the lights to go out for a rolling start, signalling that the race is on. Getting comfy with the car, it was all or nothing if we wanted to beat our record. That lap timer again working a treat. And I managed to get a good few overtakes, getting quicker and quicker with every lap. Although I wouldn't be myself if I didn't nearly bin it a few times either. The action was heating up and now some teams were pitting to get their mandatory pit stops in. Every team had to do 3 pit stops in the 3 hours of racing. Failure to do so would entail a penalty or even disqualification. Roughly 45 minutes into the race, it was time for me to come in on our first pit stop and let the lads refuel the car. Refueling can only take place once the driver is out of the car and all the doors are closed. The refueler, being Corey, can get our beast filled up. Owen, being the fireman, hold an extinguisher closely behind in case it all goes terribly wrong. Thankfully, we did something right and I was thrown back in the car to give it to Beans before it was Lee's turn. Sadly, there was an accident where a car flipped, meaning that the safety car was deployed. Fortunately, no one was hurt, which is a testament to the safety kit that is built into these cars. Once recovered and the track was clear, it was back to the grind. About halfway into the race, my time was up and it was back into the pits to let Lee in this beast and rip this place up. Rob Lewis doing a great commentary on the live stream of how cars should be pitting, whilst we were in the background like the circus, trying not to get a penalty like last time. Lee all buckled up, it was time for him to do his best and show Silverstone what he could do. He was absolutely flying out there, making his way down the grid, doing overtakes. It was looking promising to beat our record. At this point, we managed to be 28th with just 1 pit stop to go. Less than an hour to go, all teams were trying to get in for the final pit stop, putting in the minimum amount of fuel to get it over the line. Last pit stop for us, just to get enough fuel in to make it over the finish, then it was the final stretch until the end of the race. Lee was keeping it full send as we were down to just 26th on the leaderboard, with just under half an hour to go. And what a ride it was as the sun was coming down over Silverstone. He was going that quick, he decided to try and bin it with just 10 minutes to go. Thankfully though, he didn't hit the gravel, so he spun it back on the track and pushed it right to the end. And just like that, the checkered flag was out and the 3 hours were up. Team Alpha Trojan making it first across the line, taking first place. Top racing, fellas. Shortly followed by us coming back over the line, placing 24th overall. Absolutely smashing our previous record, we couldn't have been happier. A great team effort by all. It sure was ropey at times, but we made it back in one piece with more amazing memories added to the bank. What more could you ask for?
so the race is over. It is back to reality, back to fixing cars. If you've got this far on the video, hit that like button, hit subscribe. There's plenty more projects coming, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye. New tricks up our sleeve. That didn't work. God. Seatbelt, suck me mum.